This is the story of Nelson Mandela, a man who carried hope through darkness and showed the world that true strength is not in fighting, but in choosing peace. There was once a country called South Africa, beautiful, colorful, full of life, but painfully divided. People were separated by skin color. White people had power. Black people had none. They could not vote. They could not live where they wanted. They could not dream freely. And in the middle of this injustice grew a young boy named Rolihlahla Mandela, later known to the world as Nelson Mandela. As a child, he saw unfairness everywhere. But instead of becoming angry, something else grew inside him. A desire to fix what was broken. He didn't know how. He didn't know when. But he felt it deeply. My country should be free. Mandela grew older. He studied. He learned the law. He read about freedom movements around the world. And slowly, his dream became a mission. He stood up when others were too afraid. He spoke when others stayed silent. He fought for people who had no voice. But the government saw him as a threat, a danger, someone too brave, too loud, too hopeful. One night he was arrested. The court sentenced him to life in prison. They thought prison would silence him. They thought walls would break him. They were wrong. Mandela was taken to Robben Island, a small, isolated prison where the ocean crashed loudly, and hope felt far away. His cell was tiny, cold in winter, burning in summer. He slept on the floor. He worked in the limestone quarry. From sunrise to sunset, his hands bled. His lungs hurt. His eyesight was damaged forever by the bright white stone. But inside his heart, a different kind of strength grew. He told his fellow prisoners, "We may be in prison, but we must not let prison live inside us." And so they studied. They shared stories. They taught each other. They found freedom in their minds when their bodies could not move. Mandela refused to hate. He refused to break. He refused to let injustice change who he was. He knew something powerful. You cannot imprison a free mind. Outside the prison walls, the world was changing. People everywhere began to speak Mandela's name. Protests grew louder. Voices rose higher. Nations demanded, "Free Nelson Mandela!" And slowly, painfully, the government realized they could not silence him. After 27 long years, a guard walked to Mandela's cell door and whispered the words he dreamed of but never expected, "You are free to go." Mandela stepped outside, into the warm African sun. Crowds cheered, flags waved, people cried. But Mandela did not smile in victory. Instead, he whispered, "My freedom means nothing if my people are not free." The world expected Mandela to seek revenge, to punish those who hurt him, to destroy those who locked him away. But Mandela said something that shocked the world. Forgiveness is the most powerful weapon. Instead of fighting, he walked toward the very people who once called him enemy. He chose unity. He chose peace. He chose to rebuild the nation that had once broken him. And in the year 1994, Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. People who once doubted him now looked to him for hope. People who once feared him now trusted him with their future. He brought peace when the world expected violence. He brought forgiveness when the world expected anger. He proved that true leadership is not about power, but about heart. Mandela grew old, but his message stayed young. He traveled the world, teaching people about freedom, about courage, about choosing love over hate. Children sat at his feet. Presidents listened to his words. Millions repeated his message. And when Mandela finally passed away, the world did not mourn a prisoner. It celebrated a giant, a man who showed that a single voice can shake a nation, a single dream can change history, a single human heart can forgive. what others cannot even forget. If you ever feel small, remember Mandela began as one boy with a dream. If you ever feel trapped, remember Mandela found freedom inside a prison cell. If you ever feel powerless, remember he changed the world, not with anger, but with hope. I hope you got something from this story. Something strong, something gentle, something true. You don't need perfect conditions to change your life. You only need courage and the decision to start.